back to Titan Azeroth Cast, your favorite podcast across Azeroth. Today, we are joined by Latin Ghost. Sir, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here, of course.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us your story and how you've experienced Azeroth.
Oh man, my story. Where should I begin? I was born in the year of just before the Burning Crusade had started, before all the forces had gathered to go out to Azeroth. I was yet a wee little dwarf, playing with my pets, watching my father as a hunter inspired me to grow up to become a hunter that I am today.
Wow. So inspirational, I had to stand up. Okay.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your adventures.
Oh, so I joined up. Unfortunately, I am part of the Alliance. No offense to the Horde. I have good friends who are on the Horde side. It's okay. We understand the differences, but my allegiance is to the Alliance. I joined up after seeing my father. Unfortunately, he was part of the armies that went out to the Outlands, and he unfortunately perished. But I inherited his trusty pets that became my own. I have a bear and the wolf, and I joined up with the armies. My adventures took me to the Frozen Throne, where I was part of the armies that helped defeated Arthas. And after that, took a bit of a rest. But then, unfortunately, duty calls, and we had to go out to the mysterious lands of Pandaria, which, lo and behold, was such a beautiful and mystic place. And I spent quite a bit of time out there.
So
just admiring everything.
I have one question. You must have been the youngest member of the army, because you said you were a young lad during the times of breaching Outland and breaching the Dark Portal, and then you went and fought for with us in Northrend. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was so inspired by my father that I kind of forged my age. But us dwarves, we look younger than we are. You would never guess. I'm about going on 105 because we look so damn handsome and good.
So your years are a little bit different than ours, I see.
Oh yeah. So because of that technicality, I was able to join up with the armies of the Alliance.
So you were
didn't have major roles, but it was fun.
You were actually born before the Great War, even the first Great War.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you were just more coming into your own around the time of breaching the Dark Portal.
Yes, of course. I was just a youngling, but very well trained.
Now I understand. Okay, fantastic. So you mentioned you're a hunter. What animals do you specialize in as your companions?
So I specialize right now just in the basics, the bears, the wolves. But there's a few pets that I had my sights on out in Pandaria and some of the other lands, especially in Dornegal, some rams that are not, current to our scenery here in the Eastern Kingdoms and in Durotar. And also there's some exotic pets that I have yet to get that I'm looking forward to getting.
So, as a hunter, you obviously probably spend more time in the wild than most anyone. Do you think that there is patterns that you see more in Azeroth that more people ignore than you would? So, obviously, since you're out in the wilds of Azeroth, do you see more things than somebody who's a scholar that's locked up in a tower because just your
definitely.
In the wilds?
Oh yeah, you learn to commune with nature, study paths of animals, their traits, how especially if they're like in pack forms, how the pack handles different situations, how you can track the pack, how they how they just do everything, and then you adopt that as a hunter. With stealth and being able to blend in with your surroundings to track your target, whether it be animal or person.
Yes, yes. So, if civilization collapsed tomorrow, let's say all of our great cities that we have out there, from Stormwind to Ogremar and Silvermoon, even just all of a sudden just got overtaken, conquered, whatever it may be, do you think that the hunters would be the viable choice to lead the rest of the factions out in the wilds to understand them better?
Yes, anybody with a bow and arrow, pretty much. Um, any great tracker definitely would, especially because we're resourceful. We can able to find food, shelters. We'd be able to sense enemy locations. Like I said, with the patterns, track patterns. If everything went to Helheim, then hunters would be your first choice to help lead the way.
Absolutely. So, as a hunter, obviously, you have a strong bond with your different pets. I'm sure. Do you think it's just training, or is it something deeper, something more spiritual? As they're brazen spirits and naturistic animals that have been grown on Azeroth themselves.
Oh well, it's definitely like the. I would compare it to how druids have that bond with nature. Hunters definitely form a deep personal bond, spiritual bond, kind of an all types bond with their pet. Um, because if you're a hunter that does choose to go the way of having a pet, that pet is with you from time it's a cub to adulthood to, unfortunately, when it's time for the pet to go to that great rainbow in the Azeroth sky. Um, that pet is with you. That bond that you form is an unbreakable bond. It's something you would have to experience in order to truly get the gist of having a bond with your pet.
Absolutely. So let's dive a little bit into some of the different threats that we've faced as well. Uh, do you think that your pets actually had more of a sense of the incoming danger even before us, the rest of us?
Oh, 100%. They can sense things that even as a skilled hunter and tracker, such as myself, or even more skilled that I know of, they just have that instinct of being out in the wild, knowing that surrounding, and that sense that they, especially with my wolf and my bear, um, so they just know when things aren't right, and having that pet, especially, if you're out in the wild and you set up a camp in an unknown area, and you're just trying to take a good nap because every once in a while, you need a good nap. that pet
Absolutely.
there that pet having that pet there and having them sense, be that extra eyes and ears for you is, puts my mind at ease.
Okay. Now, since you spend so much time in the wild, what's the weirdest thing that you've seen in the wild that you don't think anybody else would believe if you told them? For instance, once I saw a murloc. I saw a murloc climbing a tree.
Murlocs.
I saw a murloc climbing a tree and doing pull-ups on the limb. Something similar to
First of all, I would be scared seeing a Murloc do pull-ups because you know how the Murlocs can get.
that. Yes, yes.
They
We'll,
ain't the.
we'll go into
We'll
the
touch on-
murlocs later, I promise. We have a whole
Yeah.
section saved for that.
So I would say the weirdest thing for me that I saw, uh, and now it's been documented well, but the Hosen, when we first met the Hosen out in
Oh, those
Pandaria.
feces flinging animals.
Yes, and then them saying to ook me in the duker, and I was, first of all, I was flabbergasted that they spoke decent enough English to formulate sentences. But telling me, flinging poo, saying gonna ook me in the duker, yeah, I think that's the weirdest thing I've come across so far in Azeroth.
Fair enough, fair enough. That I can understand. Do you think that Azeroth's wilderness is trying to warn us sometimes when things are getting a little bit out of control?
Oh, for sure, Azeroth. It's like, when you have something wrong with you, you come down with a sickness or some type of fever, your body gives you kind of, signs that, hey, something's not right with me. I feel off. And Azeroth being the planet that she gives us these warnings and different things. Definitely to she's looking out for us.
Oh, absolutely. I can agree with that. Um, so let's talk a little bit about some of the cosmic forces, especially from your point of view as a hunter. Scholars argue a lot about the order and void and chaos and all that stuff, but from a hunter's perspective, do you think that nature actually cares about order, magic, or the void, or whatever it may be?
Well, definitely know nature definitely cares. We know that what happened with the Great Sundering and when Deathwing was reawakened from, and we saw how the planet was almost ripped into two, and now she's just starting to heal herself again. But with this void, we see it all the time. We see, we go through towns, and we always, fortunately, we have those shady parts of the cities, and we always see like the magic users, like the warlocks. I was gonna say murlocs, warlocks, and other void users. Practicing the dark arts. Well, yes, sometimes it is for good. It's very, very. There's definitely as well. We know there's higher powers out there, and I feel like something else is greater is going to come. Just nature's just telling me that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you think that the Titans themselves, have actually misunderstood nature when they actually have tried to order it and should just let nature be, or do you think order is good for nature?
Yeah, the Titans. Don't get me started on them.
You're not the only one.
They definitely. Yeah, they definitely meddle in the affairs instead of letting the planet be, and unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for anyone. Um, it seems like every time something's amiss, goes back to the Titans just meddling instead of just leaving their creation be. Let nature be. We were fine before. Well, we kind of messed it up ourselves, but yeah, Titans. I feel like they just meddle too much.
Fair enough. And I agree. I think that's a whole topic that you could spend quite a number of hours on, just talking about the Titans' issues in their hands in Azeroth.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ever been on a place in Azeroth like where your pets just all of a sudden started acting weird, or just really became timid or scared, even as mighty as they are? And where was
that? I definitely know Ice Crown. Seeing some of those abominations in there, as mighty as as my pets are, yeah, they definitely got, especially seeing what was that Death Knight's name? The orc son,
Nazgrim.
Yes, Nazgrim's son.
May he rest in peace.
Yes, he was a great orc. I will say that he definitely was a righteous one. But yeah, seeing his son, we've dealt with undead before, but Death Knights are something else. They're living dead. But
what about a place where you've been where you actually didn't physically see anything at all, even the entire time you walked through it or been through it, but your pets just completely changed their attitude? Where was that?
Oh, I would say not so much on Azeroth, but in Outlands. Once I went back to visit there to see where my father, where he had in Shatrath, going towards the Black Temple, just became an eerie, just desolate, just quiet, like even with everything that's going on out there. It was just, to me, just so quiet, desolate. The pets weren't
freaking out.
Yeah, it was just seeing it. It was just like, how can, at the time, I can only imagine they thinking, how can anything exist like this? But seeing it for myself, even though it's been years past, which still had that eeriness to it, that void, you would say.
Yeah, and I agree. And obviously, we all came to know Illidan in a different light after the Legion tried invading us again, and he joined our side. But I will say, A part of being in Shadow Moon Valley and the Outlands, I think, especially that's where my ancestors were from. I think that it was quite an eerie feeling to just walk through there and just know what it once was. Especially once we got the help from the Bronze Dragonflight and revisited Draenor back in its heyday, seeing what it once was to what it became. It really just it spooks you to think about what actually atrocities occurred there.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I did study the history of everything, and it was a beautiful place, but unfortunately, due to one wayward orc getting corrupted and everything going
we don't speak of
to the hell. Yes, that's why I haven't mentioned his name, but yes, just
I appreciate the respect.
Just everything that's happened, and it's sad because again, your land was a beautiful land, especially where the Frostwolf comes from. I could probably go out hunting there all day. I could probably learn so much from them.
Yes, the Frostwolf clan, very honorable people. So obviously, this is a orc talking to a dwarf, Horde talking to an alliance, and we've obviously found some common ground and balance between the Horde and the alliance. Currently, hopefully, those tensions stay low. But what would you say has been some of the cost of our previous wars with each other on nature itself, especially you being a hunter and the animals within the forest? I know you weren't a part of the Great Wars yourself, but well, except I guess for the one Sylvana started. But we talk of her. What effect did you see from some of the creatures and nature itself?
Definitely, their change in attitudes. You see creatures that were once quiet and timid in nature now, I guess you say, kind of evolved into the next level where now they have to fend for themselves because their ecosystem has changed. Like I said, what happened with the Great Sundering. Once timid creatures now have to become feral creatures and creatures that have to depend on themselves and pretty much attack on sites. Like, I'll give an example. Out in the Barrens, some of the boars out there were usually timid, didn't really come up to some of them, but now, especially the ones that had gotten affected, the razorback fell boars and different things like that, and now they're just boars. Yeah, the quill boars. They evolved from being on 4 legs to 2 legs, and it just became chaotic.
Yes, us orcs had many issues with the quill boars for sure. And I know that it's caused some strife across the land. I just was curious on your perspective as a hunter. Obviously, you're out in the wilds more than me. I'm just but a humble warrior. Strongest one there is, but I'm humble. So, as a hunter, obviously, you've come across many beasts. What would you say is the most difficult to hunt that you have come across?
Oh, man. Ironically, some of the aquatic beasts you come across, the great whale.
Yes, the dwarves' great weakness.
Yep. As you can tell, a little short on the leg department. So
hard to kick, I understand.
Yeah, so what you may swim normally take me double or triple the time. So anything water beast related, definitely a no-go for me, especially the one whale out in over in where's the land?
The blasted whale shark.
Yes, that over whale shark.
I know, over in Suramar.
Yes. That thing's a pain in my tuchus.
Yeah, actually, they're quite everywhere, but there's quite a few places. But yes, the one in Suramar was definitely one that most people knew about. Do you think that is there a crease besides the water creatures? Is there a creature on land that you absolutely refuse to hunt? Maybe not out of fear, but maybe more respect.
The one out in Pandaria, the giant warcork Kodo, by the brute where the brewmaster, the brews. Oh
Yes.
goodness, the where they brew all that wonderful ale. That one out there
Oh,
in
Galleon.
the yes, Galleon. Yeah.
He's
See,
fine.
I try to forget his name and
Yeah, Galleon. Yeah, he was, the one that he was captured by that warband, unfortunately. But I
yes,
can understand the respect. He is a
yeah,
mighty, he is
he's
a
a
mighty
mighty
beast.
creature, and many hunters have tried. Very few have, succeeded. But that
Yes.
warband does not help when you're trying to capture
Yes.
or try to hunt a great beast like that.
So, obviously, there are some creatures that are more predators than protectors, but what would you say that line is in Azeroth? Like, which ones would you consider to be more predators, just your simple, normal, common predators, and some that are actually protectors in Azeroth? Because I know that there's some people who believe that the animals themselves out in the wild actually have been spawned from Azeroth as sort of a immune system to protect her.
Yeah, so I definitely respect any of the spirit beasts. I've come across seeing a
Yes,
lot in the Howling
yes.
Fjord, and I believe that they are definitely protectors for Azeroth, sent by
I can
her.
respect that.
Um, Especially the spirit crab, and there's a spirit bear. I've come across many of times. Beautiful animal, but definitely I believe any of the spirit beasts. But any of the ones, I would say any of the bats are definitely agitators in the animal kingdom, and
Nobody
any
likes
of the
bats.
also. Oh no, and then any also of the blood beast out while exploring Zandalar, they are
Yes.
definitely
Nazmir.
not. Yes,
Yeah, those
they
things
are
are.
definitely
I believe
not.
those are more spawns or aberrations from. What was that creature's name? Gahun?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That
The, the
they
fake old god.
the fake god. Yeah, but unfortunately now they're here to stay, and they are definitely, I believe, a kill on sight target because they are something that are not of nature and don't deserve to be here. To me, unfortunately.
Absolutely, I know I can understand that. So let's get into our section about Murlocs. Let's talk about those little
Oh,
guys.
those vile beasts.
If you could throw a Murloc, how far do you think you could throw it?
Unfortunately, not long enough. They are
Yep.
just why? Why Azeroth? I need a reason as to why these are here.
Good. I'm glad I found a compatriot to understand issues with Murlocs. If all the Murlocs across the world joined together, do you think they could take down the Horde and the Alliance?
Ironically, I think they could because
Our last viewer did not believe they could. They believed that the Murlocs just didn't have the firepower behind them. So it's interesting to hear
did
your
you not
perspective.
did they not see what was done to them on the Broken Isles? Fell Murlocs. For
It was a she,
come
but
on,
yes,
fell Murloc.
she was convinced that they were just too small.
You know what? They always say small in number, mighty in power. So
True,
you know
true,
what?
true.
I think Murlocs can because once Murlocs set their sights on a target, they just don't give up.
That's fair. Okay. So let me ask you this then: if you could tame a Murloc, would you?
Ooh, now can I tame two?
Nope, only one. And which one?
Oh man, so many to choose from. Ironically enough, though, I think I would try to do a fell Murloc. I feel like they would be the strongest of the bunch, and it's we've always seen um different variants of the Murloc, but we have yet to see one similar to like how the fell affected them.
That's fair. That's fair. Yes, the fell unfortunately affected everything. But here's my other question: if you could take all the Murlocs in the world and shove them into Outland and leave them out there, would you?
See, now, weirdly enough, I would say yes, but also no. I feel
Good
like
answer.
Murlocs, they bring a weird balance to everything.
Do you think that they're actually part of that immune system I talked about involving Azeroth?
I think they could be because if you ever notice, like when certain areas where Murlocs are, they're in their certain little. Also, they build villages too, which is a little amazing as well. But like I
Also
believe that
terrifying.
also, yeah, very terrifying because they're somewhat civilized and only imagine what happens if they get a hold of the great uh, uh, gnome technology. Not to say
Oh, I don't
goblins
even want to
isn't,
think
but
about that. Goblins
yeah.
still. I recognize that. And goblins are my horde brethren.
But yeah, could you imagine though if Murloc's got a hold of technology? But yeah, I
Yeah,
think they
we would
bring a
be
weird
doomed.
balance to everything.
No, absolutely. I agree. I don't have a full on disdain for Murlocs. I just have had a lot of bad encounters, and I'm sure you have as well.
Yes, yeah, especially as a young hunter learning my ways outside of Storwind, outside the village of Goldshire. There's a
Uh,
Murloc camp that's been terrorizing people for years, and at the point they just at a point where they just kind of leave them alone, and hopefully they won't, randomly attack.
no, absolutely. I agree. I agree. So let me go ahead and ask you. Well, we're gonna move on from the Murlocs. I just have to always get a little segment in there of them. You know, it's just part of my style. So, if you do you think that hunters honestly would be the first ones to notice any new world-ending threat? First, I should
Um,
say.
I would say no, as in terms of just a hunter by himself. They may notice like certain things, but I think those who rely on their pets as being the companions, because like I said earlier, they form that bond, and if their pet notices something off, it's gonna tend to bring that to the attention of their hunter master, and I think definitely they would notice something.
Fair enough. Okay. Now, what is a hunter's arch nemesis when it comes to class? At least for
I would
you.
I would say for me, my arch nemesis in terms of just everyday, life and battles and
Encounters.
struggles and encounters probably would be the rogue. They are
Really?
shady.
I would
Yes,
think
with
that your
their
pets would
stealth.
be able to even sense rogues, even if they are, hidden.
A young rogue, yes, a rogue, a person who's mastered the arts of subtly or outlaw or assassination. They definitely will have the upper hand against my pet because they can mask their smell, they can silence their moves, stuff that fortunately my pet will rely on, and they can, you know, say that you're a rogue, and my pet can try to pick up your scent. Next thing you know, they disappear and they're somewhere behind me. My pet can't track it. So yeah,
Fair enough,
definitely
fair enough.
a very skilled rogue who's mastered their ways can definitely be the bane of my existence.
And who would you say is more a kinship sort of class? A class or a group of people or trainers or class, whatever you want to call it, that you feel more of a kinship towards?
Mages. I feel a
Really? I'm
kinship toward.
surprised you didn't say druids, honestly.
Well, yes. In aspects with druids, mages for me because I've dealt a long time with them, definitely form a kinship with the mage, especially um, the frost or arcane mage. I've been in many battles and they've helped me out quite a bit. They've covered my back well, and I've sometimes my life to in my situations I've been into mages.
Fair enough, fair enough. Um, so, whenever you talk about this kinship with the mages and your arch nemesis being rogues, what would you say is, how do I put it? If you were to take one into battle with you, who would you most prefer or most trust?
Well, again, definitely the
I mean, I
mages.
know the mages have helped you, but you also say rogues are your arch nemesis, so the ones that you fear in battle the most.
Yeah,
So if you had one
rogues.
on your side, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, um, love the mages. Rogues. Uh, I couldn't stand. Uh, I love. It's a hate relationship with the rogues, but I guess
Fair
the
enough.
one I would really, well, obviously any type of healer, would definitely be great in battle. But that's kind of a given, so we'll kind of put them aside. But if we'll save anything, um, of warrior, the warrior having my back,
Thank you.
you know,
Yes, my brother. I like
yes,
it. I like to hear that.
definitely would love to take a warrior in battle. When you guys get your bloodlust, I'll forget it. I might just stay back and just let you guys do your
Game
job.
over. All right, so we'll go ahead and ask a couple of the last questions just to kind of get a little back into this conspiratorial idea. What would you say is one truth about Azeroth you think that only you or other hunters actually truly understand that nobody else can?
That I believe, and I believe some other hunters may feel this way too. This kind of goes back to the whole Titan theory, but I believe Azeroth, because the word goes apparently Azeroth is a sleeping Titan, but I believe she'll never wake up. They're
Really?
fighting over her essence, soul, however the Titans form, and I don't think she will ever wake up. I think she chooses not to wake up because she's been our protector and everything for so long. And I know some other hunters feel this way. Not everybody may feel this way. Some people feel that she doesn't exist, but something's here. We feel something's here. We know something's here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can understand that, but that's interesting. I've heard some of the rumblings from your former leader, Magni Bronzebeard, and talking about communicating with Azeroth potentially and seeing that she's potentially starting to move around more. But you believe she won't wake up. That's an interesting theory. That's the first time I've actually heard that before.
Yeah, I think if all these wars we've had, everything that's been going on, like I said, she chooses not to wake up because I believe it will cause more harm than good, and
I
she's
guess
staying in
if
her place.
Deathwing bursting out of the ground and the Legion coming
Mm-hmm.
back with a full invasion force, including even another Titan itself, getting stabbed with a giant sword by Sargeras, and she hasn't woken up yet. Yeah, no, that's kind of a fair argument to say, I would say. But I
Yeah,
digress.
I mean, would you want to wake up to chaos going outside of your house? I think not.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I guess I never thought about it that way. So let's zoom all the way out. All right, are we protecting Azeroth, or do you think we're just causing more harm?
I think at one point we were, but our ways have been so torn in every direction.
We were. Are you saying at one point we were protecting Azeroth, or we were hurting it?
So yeah, I think at one point we were, but now with everything that's been going on, well, yes, Azeroth still is in the hearts of many people. I think we've gotten away from her
So you
in
think
terms
we
of
were
having to
protecting it,
protect
and
her.
now we're hurting her? Or
Yeah, that could also be a reason why she, to some people, maybe she hasn't woken up, like I stated. Um, we've been in a cycle of every few years, something's happening to our planet, and the call to arms is being called on both sides, and you know, not for nothing, your goblin brethren kind of do make a mess. I mean,
yeah,
our gnomes
brother is
aren't
a strong
the
term.
best either. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. And for the final question today, what are your thoughts on the Wailing Caverns?
they need to be. How should I say this in a good way? Both our
Say it in a
factions
bad
should
way.
come together and seal it up completely.
Seal it up completely. There you have it, folks. Our friend here, Latin Ghost, would like to see the Wailing Caverns sealed up completely. Unfortunately,
No more.
that's all we have time for, folks. We thank you for joining us today, Latin Ghost. Thank you for joining us, and for our herbal dragon scale tea. And we hope.
Oh, my pleasure, and it was absolutely delicious. Definitely enjoyed this, and that tea was. I gotta probably get a couple tea bags or some tea leaves before I leave.
I've got a buyer. I'll send them to you.
Awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So, all right. Well, thank you all very much, Latin Ghost. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.